What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chaotic Minds. As always, it is Winged.
And the midget.
And, these last 24 hours
has been a roller
wild.
coaster.
Wild.
I mean, I can go back to the beginning of that, the updates on this.
Not yet. We'll get there. The last 24 hours have been crazy in the gaming world.
Gamers unite, man.
At some point. And as this is I believe this is our first show in June. Happy Pride.
Happy Pride Month.
Yay.
Yay!
We made it.
As a bisexual female that is more pansexual, I guess, than you could... yes, I love pans, before you make the comment. I fall in love with the person, not their gender or what's between their legs, because they are two different things. I can fall in love with somebody because of who they are. I fell in love with you because you're a sarcastic asshole.
I'm a floaty sea potato.
And I love floaty sweet potatoes.
You don't even know what a floaty sea potato is.
Manatee. Floaty sweet potato.
We don't talk about the potatoes.
I like potatoes.
We don't talk about the potatoes.
We don't talk about the potato famine.
We don't do that either.
Anyway, as a bisexual female that is more leaning towards pansexual, I have come to realize that my pronouns are more she, her, they, them than she or just she. I mean, if I fall in love with somebody for their personality, them as a person, that is the most natural recourse for me. It's something that I've dwelled on for many years, but not really concrete. Kind of gender fluid, as people
It's
say.
not really gender fluid.
It's more of a pronoun fluid. Like, you can call me anything you want as long as you don't call me late for dinner, because then I'll be mad because my dinner's going to be cold.
Yeah. It's just...
Yeah.
It's yay, Pride.
If you are a part of the community or not a part of the community and you are an ally, then we welcome you. If you're a bigoted asshole, step on. Kick rocks.
I will
go
say
away.
this. If you're a part of the community or you're an ally, welcome. We love you and we hope the best for you. If you are indecisive and you're not sure, or you were raised or brought up a certain way and you're not an ally, but you don't have any issue with people being themselves, we love you. We hope you the best. And if you're a bigoted asshole who wants to,
harm others for loving who they love,
yeah,
then kick rocks.
We love you, and we hope you're the best.
But kick rocks.
I mean, look, love is love.
Don't forget to love each other. I know. I love everybody until they give me a reason not to.
I'll still love them, just from afar. Like, out of rock throwing distance.
Hey, I miss my ex every day, but my aim is steadily improving.
Anyways, so we're going to go into the first topic now, because why not?
Pride Month. Yay. Bunny trails. As if you can't tell already, this is going to probably end up a bunny trail episode.
Holy
Again.
crap.
Yeah.
So, for those of you who are not aware or have no idea what
or
I'm
are
referring
not gamers.
to, Destiny 2 just released its final expansion for the game.
For Destiny 2.
It's going, for the series.
Yeah.
For the light versus dark war saga, however you want to put it, right?
This is the
That's
last
been
of the
going
trilogy.
on, it's been going on since D1.
Yeah.
And throughout all the expansions in D1 and all the expansions in D2, there's been this conflict between light and dark, the Witness and the Traveler.
The good and evil.
We didn't know about the Witness up until, here more recently. But, there's always been this underlying, the darkness is bad and the light is good in D1.
But you have to have balance.
And then in D2, it was the light is still good, mostly, but the dark is just a tool to be used, and it's not necessarily bad. It's how you use it, and then comes the final shape, which
For
is
me-
this final Destiny's.
For me, on the outside, not really playing a whole lot of Destiny until recently, which I've oddly gotten more into lately. It's weird. Thanks to the pursuit of many of our clanmates and
Persistence.
the persistence, pursuing them, being like, "Why don't you join us? You can play. You can be cannon fodder." I don't know.
No, that's
Every-
my job.
Every
Don't take my job from me.
No, because you're better than I am.
Yay! At being cannon fodder? Yes.
So no, I'll be bottom of the leaderboard now.
No, that's me. You cannot take
Anyway.
my spot away from me.
Anyway, like for me, coming from the outside and just more recently getting into Destiny 2, I was never really into Destiny 1 a whole lot. Just interrupting you.
Just like you did just now.
Yes, but in more interesting ways. Anyway, for me, it was seeing the light is the only way, light is the only way, light is the only way. And then they introduced in Destiny 2, maybe darkness can help. So it's not really a good versus evil, because light is inherently good, but some light bearers are not good. Just like the darkness. Most of the darkness is inherently bad. But there are some
Facets.
or some people or creatures or whatever you want to call them that utilize the darkness to help.
Okay.
Whether it's their species or
So
whatever.
since you want to get into lore a little bit with that.
That's
one of
I'm
the-
saying that's how it seems for me.
One of the light you mentioned light bearers being evil. Those are called rogue light bearers. And a lot of them followed the direction of a man named Dredgen Yor.
Wasn't
Anybody
he a weirdo?
anybody who followed him got the name, got kind of like with the Sith in Star Wars getting Darth and then whatever.
Darth
Dredgen,
Sidious.
yeah, Dredgen
Darth Maul.
was
my favorite.
the Darth, like it was a title,
Okay.
and then they got like a new name. So
Okay.
the Drifter, being one of those ones who was a Dredgen, had his own name. Once he realized that there was somebody hunting the Dredgens, he's like, nope, and noped out of there.
He's an
and-
opportunist.
Oh, he very much is.
He's in it for the coin.
Very much. Now, when you're saying there are some darkness creatures or people or whatever,
Or people
that
that
are
utilize
good,
darkness.
no. Here, I'm going to correct you on that. Nope.
You
I'm gonna
utilize the
correct you.
darkness.
I'm going to
You're
correct you on
good.
that. Okay. We are guardians. Okay. We were originally, we came from light and harnessed darkness.
Yeah.
However, Savathun, which is one of the biggest names, who
I like
in
her.
Destiny,
Sorry, I like her.
she was of the darkness,
Mm-hmm.
is nowhere even close to being good.
No.
She is
In
an
our
opportunist. No. Even amongst her species, even amongst the hive, Savathun was the god of trickery and lies. Keyword there, lies. Like
Yeah.
it was in her title that her people gave her.
No.
They knew she was bad.
Yeah.
They embraced that. There was no good in that. Like every story has, everyone's a bad guy to you in your story, right?
Yeah.
But to the other person, they're the good guy. No. Nowhere in there was she the good guy.
I'm not saying that like Savathun or Oryx or
Xivu Arath
yeah,
to round
none
out
of
the
those
trilogy.
those guys aren't good. I'm talking more so that they discovered that the Guardians can use both light and dark, and
Correction.
they are good.
Correction. One found out. Well, two, technically. But one decided that she was done being of the darkness and wanted to become one of the light
Mara?
as well. No.
Huh.
Savathun.
Mm.
She was resurrected as a guardian.
Wait.
Yeah.
When the hell did I miss this?
Witch Queen.
Okay, I'm apparently going to have to start playing Witch Queen.
It's been sunsetted. That whole campaign.
Damn it. See what I
Anyways.
miss?
Anyways,
Anyway, back to the
um,
topic. See
so
bunny trails.
the end of that war finishes up with the final shape, and Destiny did or Bungie did a thing where a few days after the final shape went ahead and came out, instead of waiting like the normal like week and a half, 2 weeks that they normally do to release what's called the raid, which is like the end game.
Yeah.
Like it is the
It's like
end
Last
of,
Wish.
it's the end of that story beat,
Okay.
right? Instead of waiting like they normally do, they released it on Friday. The game came out on the 3rd
Yeah.
or the 4th.
Yeah, they released the raid yesterday, less
Okay.
than 24 hours ago.
And people, Guardians were saying how they wanted to go ahead and they wanted something a little more challenging, more than the last couple of raids, which don't get me wrong, day one raids are designed to be challenging. If you complete it within the first 24 hours, that is one of the hardest things that you're going to have to do, other than once you unlock like master, the master difficulty, which they throw all the bells and whistles at you.
Yeah, that becomes a
but
very
day one-
interesting game.
Day one is right alongside that, except you don't get the option to turn it down. This has been the longest clear time in Destiny raid history. It took over 18 hours.
18 hours and 57 minutes, technically.
Almost 19 hours to complete a raid on day one.
Which
And
is unusual because
congratulations.
it's usually not that. And I can give you the name of the team.
Congratulations to Team
Parabellum.
Parabellum.
The players are Tyrax, Astro, Bravo, Drakus Shadow, Ham, and Jake. Total time 18 hours and 57 minutes. It has been confirmed by Bungie, so don't come at me about it's not confirmed yet. It's not confirmed yet. Yes, it's been confirmed by Bungie.
I like how one of the gamer tags is just Jake.
Ham,
Jake from State Farm.
right? Drakus Shadow. Like seriously, dude, congratulations, guys. It's definitely a feat.
Like I was watching a couple of my buddies play it, right?
Yeah.
And I was asleep for the first part of that.
Yeah.
Like for the first couple
Working
of hours
overnights kind of sucks.
of the like when he started the raid, right?
Yeah.
5 hours into it, they hadn't passed the first encounter.
Yep.
10 hours into it, they hadn't almost 11 hours into it, they hadn't passed the second encounter. This was like, and the people that I play with, they're really good. Like
Yeah.
I love the guys that I play with.
These guys are phenomenal. I love these guys.
But
I have my role in the clan.
to know that it took 18 hours,
Yep.
almost 19, by a group of people who this is what they do is insane.
It's crazy.
Good job, Bungie. And it
Seriously.
makes sense that it took this long because it is wrapping up the end of a saga, the end of an
Yep.
era of content. It's been 7 years for just Destiny 2. That's not
God,
including
7
D1.
years?
7 years. I got the email the other day saying, "Hey, the final shape's coming out. This is all the stats for your entire time playing this game." I started playing the game day one when it came out back in 2017.
Good Lord. And we've been together the whole time that Destiny's been out.
Not D1.
Well, I'm talking about Destiny 2.
But yeah, it has been 7 years just for one game.
Damn.
Holy crap. This raid from everything that I've seen, it's like the culmination of every raid that you've ever had to go through.
Yeah.
All like different mechanics, different things, different secrets, different ways, different builds that you have to use and utilize and swap on a quick swap on the fly.
No.
It's holy crap. Like I went ahead and when I booted up the game after Final Shape came out, I watched the initial cutscene for it.
Okay.
And I teared up because it brought back memories. Because the first thing that you see in this opening cutscene for the Final Shape, this new expansion, is
Okay.
the first scene that you ever see when you log in and when you start playing Destiny. Your ghost floating through a series of broken down, beat up, should be in a junkyard, like swath of vehicles, and resurrecting you.
Yeah.
And I watched it and I'm like, I don't cry very often.
No.
I started to tear up because I was like, holy crap, this is real.
Yeah.
This is about to end.
And it's a huge accumulation of like different stuff that has been happening, like you said, over the last 7 years, plus all the like they did it right. I mean, there's not a lot of games that get sequels right. Let's face it, we've talked about sequels in depth before on this show, but Destiny did it right. They took their time. They put out a good product. Granted, there were some touch and go spots with certain parts of each of the games, but like they kept continuity with that D1. They kept the continuity up. They built the lore, which
You want to know?
helped.
You want to know how long it's been since D1? Total time between D1 and
Now.
D2 and now. Destiny 1 first released September 9th, 2014.
Good God, our
It has
son
been
was 10 years
a
old.
decade.
It's been 14 years since Destiny
It's
1.
been a decade.
Well, we went out 2014. Good Lord.
We've been together
Since D1 came
since
out.
D1.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
I was right the first time. Yay. Good Lord, that's too much time. I mean, hi, honey. I love you.
I know where you sleep.
I know where you sleep, and it's easier to kill you.
You can certainly try.
But no, I mean, the accumulation of all the
Hours.
lore,
And I mean, if you
hours
think
of
about it,
gameplay.
here's the funny thing. If you think about it, it's more than just hours. It's
a
more than just
decade.
days. It's more than just years. This is a lifetime for
Yeah.
some people of work
Yep.
going into this game that there are people who absolutely hate it.
Yep.
Absolutely hate it.
They're wrong.
Think it's overrated, think it's a bunch of BS, think it's stupid, the game mechanics are dumb.
I was one of those people
enjoy
for
it.
the longest time because, I mean, when the first time I played it, I was one of those coming from the Final Fantasy era. You check everything, every little nook and cranny, every space that you can get into, you check because there's always hidden stuff. And for me, that was enjoyable. But when you're like, you don't have to check every corner, you don't have to check every corner. And now that I'm like, okay, I don't have to check every corner. I can relax. I'm not missing something between here and there. Especially if somebody like you or Rage or Undead or Trent, gotta include my bitch, but like any of the guys in the clan, they're like, oh, you don't have to worry about it. Or, hey, follow me. And
Like, let's go. Come on.
laser pit of death trying to get me killed.
What happened?
Exactly.
Hmm?
You go first, honey. No. Next time I go through a game with you and there's a spider pit that I know is coming, I'm going to tell you, you go first, honey.
I don't play games with spiders in them.
That you know of.
Correction. There is a spider tank in Destiny. But
Anyway.
that's a tank.
But
It just has a
Like-
lot of legs.
like going through and having the help of you guys has been nice because it's like, okay, so I can relax. I don't have to worry about anything that's major, the game will tell me, hey, this is what you need to do. If you do it, you're probably gonna find treasure chests or loot chests, as they call them, along the way. Killing guys with yellow bars might be a bitch, but hey, you get extra rewards at the end of it. But I mean, I even played on my own, and I turned on the game, got thrown into a mission right away, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" And I get to 2/3 of it, and then I come to a room, and I see a bunch of yellow bars, and I'm like, "Bish."
I think you could have taken them.
After I died a million times,
So
I didn't die a single time all the way up until then, and I'm like,
that's the thing. And this is something that I've had to explain to some people when you're playing this game. Sometimes you go in, guns blazing, and that's
Getting
how
your
you
friend
do
shot in the ass.
it, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to hang back and hit people from afar.
Yeah.
Sometimes you rain grenades and rockets, and then you go in and just pop them in the head.
Or my super, which I am obsessed with right now because it's so hilarious.
But you do stuff like that, and you get to a point where you recognize, oh, hey, this
Yeah.
is a big open area. Probably something's going to appear.
Yeah. But it's like I'm finding myself like having a little more desire to play D2 because of the things that I've seen with you guys, the things that I've seen on some of the lore you've had me watch with you. And, getting into something that you enjoy more, it's nice. But at the same time, I held off for so long because I wanted you to be able to enjoy it with your friends, not realizing that they're like sitting there behind you like, hey, is she ever going to play?
Yeah, seriously.
Like,
I
not realizing how much the guys are like, hey, is she going to play? Is she going to play? And then when I finally start playing, they're like, wait, you're playing D2? Like, those, like, Minecraft dungeons all over again. Like,
Yeah. And here's the thing.
it's a blast.
Yes, it's a game that I enjoy playing. Like, it is my turn off my brain game, right? I boot it up.
I
And
like
I'm
it
just
because I
like-
can kill things.
I'm just like, okay, I can turn off my brain. I don't have to think. I can just go, right? And that's fun. Playing with the guys, hilarious. There was one thing, and it is my favorite memory of this game to this day, where one of our guys, like, it was me, my buddy Undead, and my buddy Rage. We were doing a 3-man activity, and Rage is, by the end of it, Rage has almost 300 to 350 kills, and both me and Undead have somewhere along the lines of like 50-ish kills. And the reason being is because something happened at the beginning of it that just cracked us. And we couldn't see because we had tears in our eyes because it was so absurdly stupid and funny that we could not stop laughing. And that is one of my favorite memories of this game, is that happening. Like, we still reference it. Like, there was a point in the Discord server that Undead's profile picture was
Yeah.
an ogre dancing.
Yeah.
And that was just, like, every time I saw it, I cracked a grin.
Yeah. Because it's funny. It's
But-
a good memory.
Here's the thing. You shouldn't, like, just because I'm into a game, right, doesn't mean that you have to. Right? And this is something that I've told you before. Like,
Yeah.
if you want to play, you're more than welcome. I will walk you through, I will Sherpa you through certain parts of this game.
There are certain parts where I have to do it on my own, which
Correct.
was really weird the other day.
But if you don't want to, you're more than welcome to watch me.
Yeah.
And see things and enjoy the things that I show you, if you choose to. There's been times where I'm like, hey, check this out, and you're like, oh man, that was really cool. There have been times where I'm like, hey, you need to see this, and you're just like, nah, I don't want to right now. It's like, okay,
I mean, it's the same thing on games, certain games that I play, that I'm like, dude,
yeah,
this is really freaking cool. Like Diablo 4, which I haven't played in a while because the seasons have been trash. in my opinion. But, like, there are certain parts in Diablo 3 that I was like, hey, you really got to see this. This is a pretty cool boss battle.
Laser beam of hacks.
Hey, suck it. Just because I'm on, like, the second to the highest difficulty on that game and I'm flying through it doesn't mean anything. Anyway, it's like the same thing with the games that I play, that if you are interested in, I'm not going to be like, no, you can't play. This is my game. Because it's not what it's about. It's about being in a welcoming community as gamers, and whereas I might not have the same interests in games as you, doesn't mean I don't give a game a shot and be like, this is actually pretty cool. It's outside my wheelhouse, but, I'll give it a shot. Like Baldur's Gate 3, which is another game I haven't played in a while because I'm really pissed off that I ended up with a glitch. Go figure. I was on the beta for that, and I still ended up with a... Like, really?
I mean, that's what betas are for.
I know.
Is to find
No,
bugs.
I'm talking about since the game came out. I never had the problem when I was on the beta. Didn't have a single problem on the beta except for loading. But, like, I ended up with a glitch, so now I have to start all over, completely erase everything that I've done.
Well, luckily you're not too far into the beginning.
No, I haven't even made it past the first chapter, which is what pissed me off the most about it. I was towards the end of the chapter. But anyway, it's like I said, there's some games that I play that you're not really interested in, like Final Fantasy games. The one you were interested in was Final Fantasy 15.
Because that was awesome.
Yeah. But, like, I started playing it, and then you're like, huh. And then you got into it, and then you started doing better than me, which really was weird. But that was also during a time when you weren't working.
No.
And that you were more into it.
15 happened years and years ago.
God,
like we weren't living here when 15 came out.
Yeah, we were.
No, we weren't.
We were here.
No.
Yeah, we were.
No. We were out in the house.
I have it on my captures. I'll have to look and touch base with you guys later about it. But anyway, like I said, just because you enjoy a game, I wanted you to be able to enjoy it with your friends and not be like, oh, I'm gonna play it, and so yeah, let's do this. It's like, no, like everybody can play every game. I may not have been interested in D2 at first, but the more I've seen you guys play it and the cannon fodder situations and just having a blast with the guys, and the fact that I don't associate with a whole lot of people outside the house other than work, which is blah. Anyway, it's like I really enjoy it now.
Final Fantasy 15 initial release November 29th, 2016.
About a year before we moved in here then. But yeah, like it's the same thing, and that's why I held off for so long, because I didn't want to get into a game and then be like, well, look at this, I'm doing a lot better. I can knock out Crucible matches and be just fine, and, yada, yada, yada. It's one of those things where if I didn't want you to resent me if I became better at the game.
Here's the funny thing. There are some people who are like that.
Yeah.
And I will, unfortunately that's the thing, because
my ex.
The competitive nature instilled in humans is so like that. It's not even funny.
It's the Halo situation for me all over again.
But for me, you're going to be better at different game modes than I am.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be better at different game modes than you are.
Yeah.
Do I get mad at Rage and Undead because they're amazing in Crucible?
Yeah.
No. There's a reason why I get excited and I cheer when I'm
Bottom
at
of
the
the
bottom of the
leaderboard.
leaderboard. And I give them a load of crap whenever I'm not at the bottom of the leaderboard and I'm beating them.
Yeah.
Because I shouldn't be up there.
And I mean, that's the thing, is like I still have that mindset of Halo, and I became really good at the original Halo, and I was actually competing in tournaments in Halo, and still can't fucking drive for shit on that game.
Nope.
But
you always give the controller to me.
Even if I was
Best
playing
driver
on,
in the world.
even if I was playing on my own, I'd eventually get there. Granted, my Warthog would be in rough shape, but
Your Warthog would be non-existent. You'd be hoofing it.
no, yeah, I would make it there. My
You
Warthog
blew
would
up
be
a tank.
and
You weren't supposed to.
okay. Make a better game.
It is the most armored, one of the most armored vehicles that you can control in the game.
Anyway,
What do you mean?
But I mean, my ex got pissed because I became so much better, and then a couple of his friends and even his cousin wanted me to play with them, and they'd put me on the team, and I'd be playing with them, and he'd be like, "Hey, I'm here, I'm ready to play. Oh, we got Naomi to do it. We're good." And he'd get pissed off, like I was encroaching on his friendships or something, and it's like. That's why I steered clear for so long, because I still have that thought in the back of my head. If I become decent at something and I really enjoy it, and I become better than somebody else, you or Rage, let's face it, I'm never going to be better than Rage.
No.
But using it as an example, if I was to suddenly become phenomenal at the game, and I'm top of the leaderboard and I'm leading all this stuff, and then I end up with a team that does a day one, that whole ordeal. It's like I have that fear that there will be that resentment.
No.
Yeah, could you imagine if I competed in a day one and I got day one, and you're like, dude, the fuck?
I got a belt. Naomi got a belt. I got a belt. Well, how do you figure? What is mine is hers, and what's hers is mine. I have a belt.
But it's like, the more and more the longer we're together, and the more established our relationship is, and stuff like that, it's the more I'm realizing that
I'm fun.
it's not gonna be like that with you.
No.
And then, like the guys, like I said, I have my special role in the clan, and I'm quite literally the only one that can be like, "Hey, sup, bitch," in the middle of the thing. They're like, "Hey, Sticky, what's going on? Hey, midget, what's going on?"
Yeah, nobody ever calls you Sticky.
No, what's his name? Kendall did
Once. And he got corrected by everybody.
Yeah, it was
They're
funny
like,
as
who?
hell.
He's like, "Hey, Sticky," and they're like, "Who are you talking to?" Sticky Grenade. No, that's Midget. Oh.
Yeah, and he hates me because, I call him out on his bullshit. But that's the sad point.
Anyways.
I have my special place in the clan, and there are times where the guys will be like, "We're in a particularly spicy mood, so we're gonna give her admin access to change everybody's titles." And it's fun. Like, I changed Violet to
Anyways.
to fired bitch.
Anyways.
But no, like that's my fear, is like if I become really good or do really well, that I'm gonna be like,
And I get that.
yeah.
And a lot of people are like that. Like, it never fails that somebody in power or somebody who's higher up or whatever is always fearful that somebody else is going to take their spot.
Yeah. I mean, it's like that in regular jobs too, so.
But in the clan that we're in for Destiny, you don't have to worry about that.
It took you a while to find a decent clan.
Well, yeah, I mean, the first two that I was in, they kicked me because I didn't log on every day. And then when I found these guys, they're like, how I even found these guys, I was looking for some people to join. And they're like, "Yeah, we don't care. We're like the original tag for it was bunch of dads or single people that get on and we just mess around."
Yeah.
And I'm like, that sounds like a clan for me. So I sent a message like, "Hey, this sounds like something I would be that I'm interested. This is something that I'm interested in. Do you have a spot open?" And like,
you're like, "But just to warn you."
30 minutes later, I get a party invite, and it's Rage, and he gets on. He's like, "Hey, I'm Rage. This is Undead. He's not a dad. I am." I'm like, "Okay." He's like, so what made you want to be, you had an interest in this? And so I told him, I got kicked from my last two because I wasn't playing every day, and I'm mainly a PVE person, and I like playing and I don't take it seriously. And they're like, okay, well, we're gonna take you on a trial run.
Yeah.
And so we did a couple of missions, PVE missions.
And then they
did
threw you
that.
in Crucible.
And then they're like, all right, we're gonna run you through Crucible. And I'm like, I'm not too good at that. They're like, well, we would just want to see where you're at. And they took me through Crucible. I was at the bottom of the leaderboard. And they're like, all right. I'm like, so they're like, yeah, you're in. I'm like, cool. And they're like, yeah, to be honest, we ran you through Crucible because you have such an aversion to Crucible. And I'm like,
Dang.
you bitch.
Yeah.
But the entire time, I was playing, I was myself. Like, I could be myself.
Yep.
I was cracking jokes. I was doing stupid stuff. Like, I would mistime a jump and die and start laughing at myself. And they're like, do you want to talk about it? I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
But, like, that's the beauty of it. I mean, there are some people out there, especially like these bigger streamers, like Parabellum and Aztec and Salts and all that. Like, they do this for a living, and they have to find the right people to play with.
It's quite literally a job interview to be a part of some of those clans.
And it's just it's some clans are very competitive. They want to be number one, whether it's in PvP or in World's First or whatever.
Yeah.
And then there's people like us that are just like, if we get it, cool. If we don't get it, okay, we still had fun doing it.
We gave it a shot.
But
they're not, the guys in the clan are not the type to be up for 24, 36 hours straight playing the damn game because they got lives.
I was listening to Undead play, and he's like, dude, it's like we're almost at 11 hours, and my headset's about to die. We need to either pick up the pace and get through this, or we need to call it and be back on at like 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, because it's not their livelihood. They have lives, they have families, they have spouses, girlfriends, boyfriends. I don't know what the case is for certain people, but
they have
it's
other
like
halves, and they have lives, and they have jobs.
Exactly. It's not their whole livelihood to play this game.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes back to the very beginning, and I mean, this is a good place to transition about, like, back when you had your first job.
Yeah.
Like, your friends kind of got upset that you weren't around all the time. I lost quite a few friends when I got my first job because I wasn't always out to hang out or go to the mall or do whatever.
The problem with me in my first job was, and this is going to sound sad, but don't feel bad for me, I didn't have a whole lot of those.
Friends?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, the ones I had were like, hey, let's hang out, or, hey, are you able to hang out? And I'd be like, yeah, let's do it here. And it was just convenient because, it's somewhere easy to get to. And they're like, well, I can't do that. Like, oh, and they're like, well, can you make it over here? I'm like, well, I can't, and they're just like, okay, whatever. And they do their own thing.
Yeah.
I really didn't have a whole lot of people over at my house that weren't a part of the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Our house was like the neighborhood hangout spot.
Yeah.
But once I started working, like, even those people stopped hanging around and stopped wanting to have anything to do with me and wanted to have more to do with my siblings.
Yeah.
So my first job, technically my first job, I worked under the table and I was going around selling newspaper subscriptions.
Yeah.
And then the guy who was running that crew of teenagers went ahead and was like, well, why don't you work for me personally and help me fix up houses that I own?
Yeah.
Like handyman stuff.
Yeah.
My first official job
W-2 filled out, I-9.
Yep. Was McDonald's. I was 15 years old.
My first job, I was 15 years old. I got my work permit, and I went to work at Kmart. That was off of 50th and Federal. That was my very first job.
Now, how I stopped working for McDonald's, I had requested off.
How long did you work for McDonald's?
Like 6 months,
Okay.
I think. That's what the
I
official.
was at Kmart for 4 years.
I think the
3
official
years?
time was
3
6
years.
months. But I had requested off back like in August and gotten approved to have Christmas Eve and Christmas Day off.
Yeah.
And like I said, it got approved. And then the week of Christmas, schedule comes up. And I noticed that they have me scheduled to work Christmas Eve. So I went to my boss and I'm like, hey, Bill.
Everybody had Christmas Day off.
I was like, hey, Bill, why am I scheduled to work? I had it off and it was approved. Why am I back on the schedule? Well, we had too many people and yada, yada, yada. I'm like, no, you don't understand this. I put this in August. I was the first person to put it in.
Yeah.
And it got approved at that point. Why am I... Well, just blah, blah, blah. Okay.
They ever give you the seniority excuse?
I think he tried. I don't... this was back when I was 15. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't really remember. I was like, okay, well, can I talk? I'm going to talk with somebody who works on the day shift because I need to have off Christmas Eve because I already have plans. And I'll see if one of the people on day shift will switch with me. No, you can't do that. I want to prove it. It's really not up to you, Bill, because this was technically already approved.
Yeah.
And I was talking to him on the phone because a friend of mine had texted me the schedule, and I had called him. And my dad hears me on the phone, and he's like, "What's going on?" And I said to Bill, "I'm like, give me a second, Bill. I'm going to put you on hold." And I put him on hold, and I let my dad know. And my dad's like, "Give me your phone." What? Give me your phone. So I handed my phone to my dad. And he took it off of speaker, and he's like, "Hi, I'm Wing's dad, and this is already approved. So why are you trying to make him work?" And you just hear muffled talking, and then he's like, okay. Zach, he officially quits and hangs up the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I was gonna do that anyways, but okay. Come to find out, Bill tried to spin it like, "Oh no, I fired him," and I was like, "No, I quit." And then I don't know, a couple years later, I had my license, and I had to run somewhere to pick up some pants for work.
Yeah.
Late at night, and they had the it was like right around Christmas, so it was like in the winter, so they had the eggnog milkshake.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really craving one, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna swing by on my way home. It's late. I want to get home because I'm tired, but I also want an eggnog milkshake. And I pull up to McDonald's that I used to work at, and Bill's working the drive-thru. And I'm like, I'm going to mess with him. I'm going to get him back.
Yeah.
So I order 2 milkshakes. I order my eggnog milkshake, and then I order a chocolate milkshake. And I pull up to the window, and he sees it's me, and he gets pissed. "What are you doing here?" "I'm getting my milkshakes, Bill." And Bill, he was a manager at McDonald's. Why is this man wearing like $200 shirts?
Right.
Like,
Actual wage.
Yeah. So he's like, "Well, fine. Here's this one. Here are your milkshakes." I'm like, "Hang on. I got one the other day, and it tasted chemically, and I want to make sure that this doesn't taste the same." It's like, "Fine, whatever." He stupidly kept the window open because I took the chocolate milkshake, and I took a sip, and I'm like, "Yep, this is good." Gave the cup a slight squeeze, so that way the lid was kind of popped off, and chucked that bitch back through the window, hit Bill square in the chest, and exploded.
Meh.
And then I
It looked like
peeled
poo-poo.
out of that. I peeled out of that part.
I bet it looked like he poo-pooed on his shirt.
And come to find out, I was banned from that store for 6 months.
Well, that sucks.
But no, first jobs are one of those things where it's like, this is the first job you have to get your own money.
To get established, have some experience.
To be able to buy something that you want.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was the whole reason why I got my job in the first place. I wanted to be able to pay for my own things. I didn't want to have to do chores every day of the week and be good in order to potentially get some allowance from my parents,
Yeah.
or loan myself out to my neighbor to cut his lawn for him after I just got done cutting my lawn, or painting his fence or fixing his fence because he didn't want to, and his
Yeah.
dog kept getting out into our yard.
Yeah.
I didn't want to have to do that, so I went ahead and I got myself a job to have my own money. And that's the. It sucks because you do lose out on time and do lose out on things that you want to be able to do,
Yeah.
because you have that responsibility now of, I have to go to bed and get up at this time to be at work.
Yep.
But once that paycheck comes in, it's nice
Yeah.
because now you have money to do things.
And then you have bills, and then you're like, ew.
Yeah, we don't talk about bills here.
Being an adult sucks. But no, it's like I said, my first job was at Kmart, and I was actually there 2 years. I was thinking about it because I was 15 and I started as a cashier, and then I moved over into the food court, which was Little Caesars, and then from there I was working at Little Caesars inside Kmart, still owned by Kmart, and then I got chemical burns from a degreaser that they wanted me to use on high chairs on my arm. That's how I discovered I was allergic to that purple power that O'Reilly sells. And
that stuff works wonders, by the way.
Yeah, except for when they use it at full strength and you're supposed to dilute it. And yeah.
It says right on the bottle, dilute.
Yeah, they wouldn't let me dilute it because it took the cleaning power away. And I ended up with burns on my arms, and
it also helps the chemical last longer. Stretch out further.
But they didn't think about that. They just wanted my boss wanted it done a certain way, and there was no other way to do it. And then we didn't have gloves, like rubber gloves or nitrile gloves or whatever. And he's like, just be careful. Just use the rag and make sure that you're not getting it completely soaked. And he would only give you 2 rags, so having to clean all the high chairs and all the seating and all the tables, it's like, it made no sense. But yeah, after that, I was like, fuck this, I quit. And by that time, I was like 16, and I was working at Arby's, and I stayed there for 2 or 3 years. And then I was at Target, and then I was at King Soopers, and then back at Target, and then back at King Soopers. I've been employed at King Soopers 3 different times, but 4 different times. But it's like I still got all that experience and stuff like that. And then I was at Taco Bell for too long, and I was doing district manager's job and a store manager's job, and they didn't have any protections for any of their employees, and still never paid for therapy after the robbery. So I obviously didn't stick around there. And then I got into, and right at that last year, I was also going to school for respiratory, and then that whole thing. So yeah, I mean, I've been working since I was technically 14, and with a job under the table, but I also babysat since I was 9. So I've been working since I was 9 years old, and I'm 41 now. The hell? It's crazy to think that 32 years I've been working, and I'm getting too old for this bullshit we're doing now. And even the other night at work, one of the RTs, Mario, was like, hey, did you get any of your stuff done? Yeah, but now I can't submit anything because something's wrong with the system. So now I got to call Dora, which is the licensing agency, and it's just like, you get so discouraged, but I don't want my degree to go to waste, and it's this whole ordeal. It's a mess, and
not looking forward to speaking to Dora because I'm missing some of my CEUs from when I was working as an RT. I'm missing every CEU that I did when I was working at National Jewish and at Kindred. And it's just like, I shouldn't have to do all these CEUs, but I still do, apparently.
Well, that actually brings up a really good point. And, college is a huge thing,
Mm-hmm.
especially nowadays for people to go
It's
through.
so expensive.
It is expensive. Like, granted, a couple other countries, you get it for free.
Yeah.
And that's all well and good. Here in the United States, you don't. You have to pay for it.
Yeah. You have to
But
pay for everything.
The biggest problem that I have is there are some people who are not meant for college,
Yeah.
right? And I'm not saying that they don't have the ability or they don't have the capability. They don't have, like, anybody
discipline
can
or
go
the
to college.
attention span.
Anybody can go to college. Like, I'm not saying that, oh, well, you can't go, because you're here or this is where you grew up or whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody can go to college. It's just that some people are not made out for it. They're not built for it. And the other problem lies in is if everyone has a degree, there is still going to be people who are not able to utilize that degree because we still need people working construction. We still need people digging
Working
holes.
fast food.
We still
cleaning
need people.
toilets.
Yeah, we still need all these people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have a degree in respiratory therapy.
Mm-hmm.
I have a certificate of completion, VOTech thing, a technical college thing for broadcasting. And the only broadcasting that I do is this.
Yeah.
And the only RT stuff that you do is when you're helping the people at the hospital.
Yeah.
And we both work as security guards for a hospital.
And it's kind of funny, but a couple of them, like if they get so bogged down and they have to go to another thing and they see me walking around, hey, in 5 minutes, can you go turn off the treatment in such and such room? I'm like, not supposed to, but yeah, sure, I'll help you out. And because they know that I'm not going to fuck with anything. Like the other day, I was walking by a room in the ICU and Mario was next door and dude is on a ventilator and he's choking because he needs suction. And I looked at Mario, I was like, hey, I'll keep an eye on this treatment if you want to go suction him because he's sounding pretty cruddy. And he goes, really? I was just walking by there before I did this and he didn't sound too bad. I was like, no, he's a high pressure alarm and, rattled off a few numbers. And he goes, yeah, sounds like he does need to be suctioned. I was like, I put a saline bullet in there for you. He goes, thanks. And, like, they know I know my stuff. So they're like, okay, can you keep an eye on this real quick? Make sure it doesn't tip or make sure that they don't take their mask off or whatever. And it's nice because I've known Mario probably close to a decade. Like, he was working at St. Anthony's when I was there as a student. I've actually known him longer than that because it's been about 13 years.
But the point that I'm trying to make is that there are some people who, college shouldn't have to be the next step for everyone. There are some people who just don't want to go through college because they're burnt out from having to go through public school or private school, or they had something happen to them while they were in school and they don't want to put themselves through that again.
And I mean, our oldest is a prime example.
To an extent where they really don't want to leave the house, but they know they have to for their job.
Yep. Our oldest is a prime example. He's like, I'm making decent money. I don't get very much time off, and the time off that I do have, I want to spend, hanging out with friends or, doing normal, like, young, late teens, early 20s kid. And it's like I'm realizing more and more now that, bugging the kids, oh, you have to go to college, you need to go to college, you need to go to college, isn't really necessary because, they see that, yeah, he has a good job. He also knows that if he wants to do what he wants for the rest of his life, have a good career, he's going to have to eventually go back to school. But he wants to make sure that he has himself established and he can do all that and pay his bills because he doesn't want to have to rely on us.
Yeah.
And that's the discussion we had a couple months back, was the fact that the reason he didn't go back to school yet is because he knows that he can go to school at any age and still succeed.
Yeah.
Because I showed him that it's possible.
I mean, there are some people, like me, for example, who didn't want to put or didn't want to have to go into like debt or have my parents be in debt.
Yeah.
So I wanted to take care of it myself.
Yeah.
So I joined
That's
the
him.
military.
And
You know.
unfortunately, our oldest and our boys are, neither one of them are eligible because Bubba's asthma is way too bad, and the food allergies he has wouldn't allow for it. And Fish, his previous history with the pseudotumor cerebrae, the spinal fluid buildup, and the autism spectrum disorder disallows him from the military service. But like, he's gung-ho about college. He wants to get a job, which we did apply for like 3 jobs last night. But he wants to get a job so he can have money coming in, because he said it's only right for him to start helping out with bills because Nathaniel did it, so he should do it too. And which is all well and good. But I also want him to keep that passion for going to vet tech school. I mean, yeah, he was discouraged from becoming a vet because of a stupid teacher. But he was like, I still can enjoy being a vet tech, and I'd really enjoy doing that. And we have a great vet tech program here that takes the IEP that he had from high school, turns it into what's called to a 504 plan, and they follow that. They help them.
Yeah.
And which is great. And he's gung-ho about it. But he wants to start working first, get a little bit of money so that if he has to buy supplies or has to pay every month, to make sure he can go to school without making us pay for everything, that he can still do that. And
Yeah.
so that's the reason he wants to start working, and it's great. But at the same time, if he's gung-ho about school and he can get scholarships and grants, and even if he gets student loans that he has to pay back starting 6 months after he graduates, if it's a choice between him finishing his education or working, I'm going to prefer him to finish his education every time. Granted, during breaks and stuff like that, or on weekends when he doesn't have classes, yeah, he can still work. But it's like, making sure that we encourage their desires for education or military service or whatever job that they think, oh, I'll be good at this.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, it's all about encouragement. Like,
Yeah.
there are kids who get out of high school and they're like, well, I want to do this, and their parents are like, well, you can't do that.
You have to go to college first.
Well, even beyond that, you can't do that.
No.
And then they get real discouraged because it's their parents telling them,
Yeah.
you won't succeed, so why bother trying?
Yeah.
The thing about being an adult and being out of high school and life in general is you can't be afraid to fail.
Yep.
Because if you're afraid to fail, you're not going to get anywhere.
Nope.
You'll be 48 years old, living in mom and dad's basement with them yelling at you every day about why aren't you doing anything with your life.
Yep.
I was thinking about it the other day, with Fish and him graduating and him wanting to go to college and, be a vet tech. I was like, how are we going to pay for this? I had those thoughts running through my head, and then it hit me, doesn't matter.
Nope.
If we have to pay, if we have to do something where we have to pay for him to go to college, then so be it.
Yeah.
If he's able to figure out a way for him to pay for himself to go to college, then so be it. But I'm still going to support him in that.
Yep.
Because it's something that he wants to do.
And I mean, we
now,
told the kids that they can stay with us if they're going to school.
Our youngest, for example, has no desire for college.
Nope.
At least at this point. And
she wants to start her own business.
You at that point were like, well, no, you need to do this, you need to do that. This is why you need to go to college and all that.
No.
And I looked at him and I'm like, she doesn't have to. She doesn't want to.
No.
Like, we can't force her to go
And the more
because
we,
what's going to end up happening is she's going to drop out.
Yep.
And all that money that we just invested is going to go to waste.
Yep.
And you were like, oh. The more that we talked about it, you're like, oh.
Yep.
You know, so
And
it's
it's like
one of
I've
those-
always encouraged our kids to do and go after what they desire in life, and then I find myself being like, no, you have to go to college or you have to join the military. And then I think about it and I'm like, why? If that's not what their heart is set for, then why? Like I was against our oldest taking a gap year, and then I saw the fact that he wants to be able to do things on his own and stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. And then Fish being like, okay, I don't want to take a gap year. I want to take the summer, get a job, get some money saved up, help pay some bills, and try to go back to school in the fall. And it's like, okay, we can do that. And then the whole reality of, holy crap, how are we going to pay for this? And, you know, the same thoughts that you had. And I'm like, we both have we have decent paying jobs. We make more than enough to do things. Yeah, there are some things that we need to cut back on. But if it means paying for him to go to college and we don't have fast food for a while, then we're not having fast food for a while. It's not a big thing for me.
No.
I mean,
and I mean there is discouraging remarks that parents could make. You know, well, you can't do this, you can't do that.
oh, you won't be good at that.
And then there's over encouraging remarks where it's like, you need to do this, you need to do that,
Yeah.
which both of them can discourage somebody from doing what they want to do. And you have to find that happy medium where it's like, you do what you want, that's allowed. If you want to do something, you know, that you're interested in, go for it. Regardless on whether or not, you know, it means that there's college afterwards, or
For the longest time, I swear to you, he was going to go to college to do video game design. And then he comes up with, oh, I'm going to be a vet tech. And I'm like, huh? You, like, the thought process, like, fried my brain for a second. And the only thought going through my head is, all you talk about is video games. And then he says vet tech. And I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he
Things
has not
change.
changed. He has not really changed his mind. He's gone from being discouraged from being a vet to being a vet tech, but he still wants to work with animals. And it's
that
just
doesn't mean
like,
that he can't go back to school
yeah,
and to become a vet
yeah,
once he has some experience under his belt.
yep. And a lot of places will pay for more educational classes and stuff. So, I mean, it's like, you know, do what you want. If that's what you want to do, then we're going to go for it.
I think that's a good spot to
But you're
end
not
it.
allowed to quit.
Exactly. But speaking of quitting, I think that's a good spot to end
Quit for the
today's
day?
show.
Yeah,
Thank-
'cause I kind of got to sleep.
Yeah, I do too. But thank y'all so much for listening. We really do appreciate it. If you are listening to us on Spotify and you want to show Spotify that you like what you're hearing and you want to hear more, hit that download button. It lets Spotify know, and they let us know in return that you enjoy hearing this and you want more. If you do want to donate to the show, there is a link in the description that you can click on that is open to donations. You don't have to if you can't or you don't want to. Just know that any little bit that does come into the show or comes in goes right back into the show to make things better and make us sound better, and quality goes up. Everything that we've gotten so far, we've put back into the show. But as always, thank y'all so much for listening. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to love each other. And as always,
Don't be a dick.
don't be a dick. Okay, bye.
Bye.